Digital cameras are electronic cameras that capture photographs or series of photographs and store it on digital memory. Technological advancement has made digital cameras available and affordable to all, ranging from smartphones to action cameras to mirrorless cameras and to DSLRs to mention just few. For the scope of this course, I'll be focusing on the mirrorless camera, the DSLR, and the action cameras. Digital single lens reflex, popularly known as DSLRs, have been around for quite some time, doing amazing jobs in photography and video productions. These cameras are powerful and they use mirrored viewfinder. That is, there are mirrors inside these cameras. Light passes through the lens, hits the mirror and reflects on the viewfinder, and when the shutter button is pressed, the mirror swings up and the curtain on the sensor is open to take pictures. DSLRs use live view mode for video recording. This enables you to see your adjustments and settings online and real time. To set up your DSLR, the first thing you need to do is to insert your memory card, then insert your battery and attach your lens before you power on your system. Mirrorless cameras are cameras without mirrors. That is, they don't have mirrors like DSLRs. They are smaller than the DSLRs and the viewfinders are electronic driven, which means that DSLR saves more battery than the mirrorless cameras. Action cameras are smaller cameras. They are cameras mounted on drones, on sports bikes, and on sports cars to mention just few. These cameras are powerful cameras for frugal filmmaking if you don't have good budget for DSLRs or the mirrorless cameras. Action cameras have wide angle views and you cannot change the lens to 50mm or 85mm unlike DSLRs and the mirrorless. One major setback in most of the action cameras is that the cameras set the aperture, the ISO and the shutter speed in most cases. To power up your DSLR, action camera or mirrorless camera, you'll follow the basic principles, which is installing the battery, the memory card, the lens, and power on your system. Lens is the height of a digital camera. The sharpness of your image is determined by the quality of your lens. That doesn't mean all you need to be a good cinematographer or photographer is good lens. Lens can be categorized into two, the prime and the zoom. Prime lens have fixed focal length, wider aperture, they are sharp and fast lenses, and they are good for low light. Example of prime lens are 50mm, 35mm, 85mm, 105mm to mention just few. Zoom lens on the other hand have more than one focal length. For instance, 18 to 55mm, 17 to 40mm, 18 to 105mm to mention just few. There are different types of lenses. Standard lens, wide angle lens, telephoto lens, macro lens to mention just few. Standard lens has mid-range focal length, wide angle lens has small range focal length, and telephoto lens has long range focal length. There are two important things to know about lenses, the aperture and the focal length. Aperture measures the degree of openness of the lens, which determines the amount of light that falls on the camera sensor. A lens with a wider aperture will give room to more light than a lens with a smaller aperture. Focal length, on the other hand, measures the area of view of your lens. A 50mm lens, for instance, will see lesser than a 35mm lens. For you to be a good cinematographer, you need to have a good understanding of what picture styles are and what they are made up of. Picture style consists of sharpness, saturation, and contrast. So, a good understanding of all of this today would help you to know when to use a picture style and when not to use it. There are different pre-designed picture styles on all cameras. We have the neutral, the portrait, the landscape, the night, the monochrome, which is black and white, to mention just few. For cinematic video production, it is advisable to reduce your sharpness, your contrast and saturation to the lowest, and when you get to post-production, you can adjust these indicators the way you want them.